Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aiden.
And I'm Casey.
No Jack this week. He had the great idea to run a half marathon this morning, and he's understandably a little bit tired. So he is resting and recovering, but I'm sure he'll be back next week, assuming he can walk to his computer by then. Uh, uh, Great time of year. It's May. It kind of felt like summer yesterday, like up in the 80s. And,
Finally.
and yeah, it was, I'll say a little too hot, especially as someone who decided to wear jeans yesterday. But I'll still take it over all that cold and wind we had. Um, and this honestly might be a busier and like more fun week than like next weekend with the first round of the playoffs. Because there's so like every game is a playoff game at this point, right? There were
hmm
games, I think the first ones were on Wednesday, there were some on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of conference tournament semifinals and finals. All of which at this point I think have been played. So we know who the AQs are. I'd say they were mostly the teams we expect. I know, our beloved Harvard Crimson and BU Terriers did not win their tournament, so I think for BU that's probably it for them. They were never really up in the top 10. I don't think they were ever in the top 10 this year, so they didn't have a huge win. If they'd beaten Duke, maybe that would have helped. If they'd beaten Harvard, that would have helped. And then Harvard's got a shot, I think, still. Certainly that AQ would have helped if they'd beaten Princeton and then Cornell. But we'll still hold out hope. This game is, or we are recording before the bracket's been announced, so you all will know by the time you're listening to this who what the tournament field is, but we do not.
No
Um,
spoilers.
yeah, but at least we know the AQs. So Cornell wins the Ivy, Colgate, who I constantly confuse with Cornell, wins the Patriot League. Syracuse wins the ACC. No AQ there, but they did put on a very good performance against Duke. So I definitely like their chances for an at-large. Ohio State beats Maryland. Man, Caleb Fyock, Big Tasty, is looking like a problem for opposing offenses.
And
Um,
he's only a sophomore, right?
he's not. He's certainly. I would think he'd be the top goalie prospect if you were coming out in the draft this year. I know McNaney also has had a great year, and Emmett Carroll at Penn, but yeah, he looks. It's not fair to say he's Blaze Reardon just because they have similar physiques, but Reardon definitely has more of an offensive touch. But he gets. It seems like he gets in people's heads and he gets into this rhythm. Maryland put up 10, which is not bad, but you can't regularly expect to win with 10. And certainly, I watched almost the entirety of that game. I think he really shut them down. Um, anyway, the other AQs, Albany beats our Bryant Bulldogs. So Casey, I hope you're happy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Zach.
You can be a little happy. It's fine. That is where you're from.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
Richmond,
Albany or the capital region is it's a good weekend or a good week for them.
yeah,
Siena
yeah.
also won.
Sienna, yeah, gets their AQ. I hope I think I watched not all of it, but just a little bit of the beginning and a little bit of the end. They look like a good team. They went on a good run there. And that was the first time they'd won their conference in quite a while. I think since like the mid-teens. So very big congratulations to them. Hope they
Yeah. It's been, now that you bring it up, I think it's been 11 years
hmm,
for Siena. So, I mean, I'm I'm really happy for, all the players back home playing for Siena. That's awesome.
yeah. And then the Richmond Spiders, I think we expected them to win their conference, to win the with the A10. They've been good. They've been like on the brink for a while where um I don't think they're going to be a crazy underdog in whatever matchup if they have to go against Cornell round one, that'll be tough, but um yeah, they've been close. They've been so close. I think they finished ranked 10th winning their conference tournament, hopefully they get a good matchup and would be amazing to see them on Memorial Day weekend or at least in the second round of the tournament because they've been a school that's on the up for a while. Um, Georgetown wins the Big East. Um,
7 in a row, I
Yeah,
think, for them.
yeah, they've been a good school. Sorry to Matt Campbell because they beat Villanova, but um, yeah. And then Towson wins the CAA against Drexel, so that's who's in the yeah, those are your AQs, and plus you figure Syracuse is probably gonna get an at-large. Maryland, you still gonna get an at-large. Princeton should get an at-large. Army and Harvard, we'll see. And how many other ACC schools is going to be really interesting. Because none of them really had like super standout years. Certainly, Notre Dame was not the Notre Dame team they were the last couple of seasons. Obviously, losing the Qs twice, and Duke, I mean, had some really good games and had some not so good games. And yeah, UNC, it's like I think it's all on the shoulders of Owen Duffy and Dom Spallina. But you can't just put the two of them in the tournament. It's gotta be the whole team.
Right, right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, anything else before we bring on our wonderful guests for this episode, Casey?
There was just an announcement right before we hopped
Yeah.
on. So it's officially official that Matt Kavanaugh has announced his retirement.
Yeah, which we kind of all saw coming in the sense
Yeah.
that he probably didn't have a spot left in pro lacrosse. The Cannons have obviously gone a different way, or what way exactly that is, we don't know yet. But the yeah, he will not be playing lefty attack for them, and you figure every other team probably has that spot nailed down. The Water Dogs getting CJ Kirst, and yeah, just a guy who's on the wrong side of 30, and in pro
Yeah.
lacrosse, it's tough to keep that going, but amazing career, two-time champion with the Outlaws and, Champ Series winner with the Cannons. Certainly the clutchest goal of his career. And I'd say we probably saw his last best game against the Water Dogs at Harvard last year. He
Mm,
had the empty net two-pointer to ice it. I think he had two goals before that. So 4 goal. I think he had an assist in there as well, 5-point night. Um, yeah, it's tough. It's not the way you want someone to end their career, not necessarily on their terms, but um, hopefully I know he's engaged, he's going to get married soon, so hopefully he can I'm sure he's going to be involved in lacrosse for a very, very long time. Notre Dame, I'm sure would love to take him back, or he'll coach wherever he's living in the country, would be thrilled to have him. So
yeah.
yeah, thank you for your service to the Cannons, Matt, and enjoy your retirement. Um,
Well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think just as a reminder, we have our draft watch party on Tuesday at Castle Island Brewing in Southie. So it's pretty close to the Broadway stop on the Red Line. Would love to see you all there. We have some giveaways that will be on Instagram. You'll see those if you look exactly what we got. We got a couple mini sticks, we got a couple hats, we got a couple signed cards. So show up and you have a pretty good chance of winning one of those and see, whether it's Hiltz or Mackesy. We've been talking about this seemingly every episode for a while now. Uh, Come find out the answer with us and celebrate or not if you have really strong feelings on which one of those, and we go, the other way. Um, and as
Let's
well,
have some fun.
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun regardless because, the Cannons have other draft picks besides that. Definitely, the one that we've been talking about the most, but, there's other things that can shore up as well. We'll see
Hmm.
if Scott Smith comes back as a Cannon in the second consecutive draft. Um, we'll see, they're going to take a short stick midi now probably with Fairman on IR. So,
Mm,
um, yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting draft all around. Hopefully we'll see I mean, we're going to see the Water Dogs take CJ Curse, but maybe they screw up all their other draft picks. We can laugh at Philly.
it'd
It's going to be a good time.
be
Um,
fun. It'd be.
yeah. And as well, if you're going to join ULAX, going to plan on playing ULAX this summer, we do have a battery team, a battery group. The link for that will be or the sign up link will be in the description. Just when you register, if they're going to ask for your team affiliation. Put down the battery. Would love to play with as many other like-minded Cannons fans as possible. And I think with that, let's take it over to our guests. So we're very happy to celebrate Mother's Day with a little bit early with Jeanmarie Rall, with Laurie Holman, and with Helen Kielty, who very graciously gave us their time. We pushed it a little bit so we could make sure we watched the end of all the college lacrosse that was happening today. Really cool to hear how they're just as big fans as we are. Of course, Laurie with Brian has to be evaluating all the prospects. I'm sure Brian was looking for what kind of game Coulter Mackesy was having against that Cornell defense. And all right, yeah, I think with that, let's take it over to our interview with the Cannons moms. Okay, thank you very much to Laurie Holman, Jeanmarie Rall, and Helen Kielty, mothers of the Cannons players of the same last names, of course, and Laurie as well, the wife of head coach Brian Holman. Happy Mother's Day to you all. I know it's in a week from when we're recording this, and thank you all very much for your time.
Thanks for having us, Aiden. We're
Yeah.
honored.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you on. I guess with Mother's Day coming up, I just want to know what you all have planned for that holiday, or what maybe people have planned for you.
I just spent a
Well,
weekend in Chicago with Jack, so I won't be seeing him, I'm afraid.
yeah,
Nice.
Ethan
And
and
then,
Ethan
go
will be
ahead.
here. Ethan will be here with his girlfriend on Mother's Day, and my daughter will be here, so we'll all be together. And Saturday, the girls are going horseback riding, and Ethan's gonna stay home and hang out with his dad and watch probably lacrosse or something. Yeah, so
Great.
yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
we kind of have an annual. My daughter lives an hour away, and we're going to a Mother's Day brunch. We divide and conquer in the Holman family. So I know my boys love me, but I'm typically up with Sydney, and then same thing, Jean Marie, Brian, and Marcus, and Matt will be watching the playoffs because they'll be starting this Friday, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
fun.
Good. Yeah, I know it does come at maybe not the best time of year for a lacrosse mom if you're not as invested in the sport as they are, particularly when your sons are playing at such a high level. But
Well, I think it's been a long time. Helen and Lori, I bet you remember the days when it was the little kid lacrosse and you'd get the rose on Mother's Day when they were done with
Exactly.
the game and they'd run off the field and give you a rose. So, yeah,
Decades of Mother's Day on the sidelines with our lacrosse
yes,
players.
yeah,
Yes, some days were Senior Day and Mother's Day. I mean, when they're in college. And that's a good point. Sometimes you forget. Yeah, because we're kind of veteran moms, guys.
hmm.
Mhm. Yes, we
Jean
are.
Marie, you're the youngest, I think. I think, yeah, Ethan's the youngest of our boys, right, Helen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, as you all said, you are, clearly we delayed the recording of this so that you could finish watching Cornell and Princeton. So clearly you all are just as big of fans of the sport as we are. Can you talk about what your experiences with lacrosse, either before your sons came around, if that was if your sons were what got you into it, or just kind of your journey with lacrosse so far?
Well, my husband played lacrosse in high school. He didn't go on to college. He could have, but he did not go on to college. But he played lacrosse and he played defense. Thus, Ethan playing defense, I think now, because when they're little, a lot of them just want to score goals. And Bill was like, Ethan, here's the stick, go play defense. But he was defensive minded and loved it. And so, yeah, that's kind of how he got started early on, just, playing with Bill in the backyard.
Go ahead, Helen. Helen, go ahead.
Well, I'm an East Coast person, and there was a lot of lacrosse, and I went to Princeton, and obviously Princeton's always had a good lacrosse team. A lot of my friends played at Princeton, so it's just been always part of life. But really, my stepsons played at Mountain Lakes High School, which is a big rival to Del Barton, where Jack played. So Jack grew up on the sidelines of a lacrosse field. And like the Ralls, the Kieltys are all defensive players in every sport. So that was it was pre-dictated what he was going to do.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. It's so funny because we never dreamed our kids would play lacrosse because I played at Towson 4 years. I was a year ahead of Brian. He played at Hopkins 4 years. We were right down the street from each other. We knew each other in high school. We're both from the Annapolis area in Maryland. So obviously stayed in Maryland for college. We meet after college. We have 3 kids. And then, Marcus, when he's like 2 years old in the doctor's office, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he says, an NFL football player. So our kids, our boys really were into football. And then all 3 of them gravitate to lacrosse, including our daughter. She was probably the best athlete of the 3 of them. And here we are today. So what a blessing. I mean, we couldn't be happier. And the joy they brought, all 3 of them played at Carolina and just been so cool.
Yeah.
Jack was a soccer player. Long before lacrosse, Jack was a soccer player.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan played it all, but ultimately lacrosse won out, as same with your kids, but lacrosse was the final decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. That natural follow-up is, at what point did you realize like that they were really going to go somewhere with lacrosse, like just how good they are?
Oh, well, well, I think you've read about Ethan's journey. He was a late bloomer, so for him it was touch and go right up till the end. He got, recruited to Rutgers and, never looked back. It was terrific, but we were going through his like middle school yearbook when he moved out. We were getting rid of stuff, and in his middle school yearbook it said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we were laughing because it said, I want to be a professional lacrosse player. So yeah. So we weren't sure if that was, it was even going to play Division I, because we were just waiting to see how it would pan out as a defensive player on the smaller side. And, and taking that to the next step and saying, what would you say to younger parents? I think there was one of those questions. And I hated it when it said, it's God has a way for making things work out. God has a plan. And it was tough during those years when we were like, okay, Ethan, hang in there. It'll come. And it finally did. But that would really be my advice, is to just let them enjoy themselves, and what will be, will be. And then, it'll ultimately come to fruition the way it's supposed to. Any kind of a path, whether it's to lacrosse or anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Helen. We'll go in order.
I've forgotten the question. I was listening to Ethan. Oh, did we think he would go as far as he did? Well, there were coaches early on in like even youth lacrosse that said, oh, Jack's definitely going to play Division I lacrosse. But frankly, we really never thought beyond college lacrosse. I mean, it just didn't really occur to us. Jack really always thought he'd go into the military. He wanted to be a Navy SEAL. And we had a lot of people along the way who, were mentors to him. I had a friend who'd played, we went to high school and Princeton together, and he was, his father was in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame, and Alex was a Navy SEAL, and he sort of mentored Jack. And his ultimate advice to Jack was, go play Division I lacrosse and have a good time. And if you still want to be a SEAL when you get 3/4 of the way through it, then you pick up the phone and call me. So, we just didn't think about the professional level. And also, I mean, Paul and Mike just started the league when Jack was in college. So, the MLL you couldn't just do that back then.
Yeah.
Right. And make a living at it. So just wasn't on the radar screen, frankly.
And I mean, thanks to Matt Landis, we know that the PLL defenseman to Navy SEAL pipeline is it's a definite possibility.
Well, of course, Jack played with Matt, so
yeah.
Matt was somebody else that he talked to quite a good deal.
Right. I think for us, it's kind of funny because all of our kids were 3-sport athletes. They play coaches back then, and if kids did that, they loved that kids play 3 sports. Yep. Instead of playing the same sport year round. That's another piece of advice, parents. Don't get caught up into playing, how soccer was the kind of the ones you got to play, and then these kids, that's all they play. And so Marcus played basketball, lacrosse, and football. And literally he was really good at all 3 of them. When you say, like, how do you know? Like, and he's so competitive and so driven. And just a really good teammate, like empathizes with kids. And we kind of so the other thing is, I think with parents today, it's like you have teams and you too, Helen and Jeanmarie could probably understand. So when they're playing on a team, who are the best kids? If your kid is one of them, and there's usually like two or three on the team that are the best kids. And I will say Marcus was one of them in all three of those sports,
Jack too.
all throughout high school. And then it was funny, he got a little setback junior year, because he was doing real well, and they had this big top 205 camp, and if you were anybody, everybody got recruited to this thing. And he didn't get invited to go to this thing. And I will tell you, I think that is the fire that lit him like no other. I think one of the questions was, what was the setback they had? And, from that moment on, he had that chip on his shoulder, and he plays like it's still today. And so that's kind of, with our journey with Marcus. And then it's funny about Princeton, real quick tidbit. So then, senior or junior year, because then it was September 1st back then. And he got recruited by all of the like top 10 schools. So his first trip junior year, we go to Princeton. And we knew Billy way back when, because he and Brian coached together at Hopkins when Brian was a volunteer there back in the 80s. And, we go through Princeton, the whole thing and everything, and we're driving home. And then our next visit, we went to, and I'm like, we're blue collar people, my dad's self-made, Brian's self-made. And we go down to Carolina, we go down to that for that visit, like another weekend. We're on our way, we're driving home from Carolina. And of course I am like, oh my God, like Princeton, like seriously, like that is the school. Like, you got to go there. Like, none of our family's ever been. He's in the back seat of the car, and he goes, Mom, he did other visits. He's like, Mom, I'm going to Carolina. I want to be a Tar Heel. We were like, whoa, that is incredible. So it's really cool. Anyway.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Jack did go to Princeton, and was recruited by the coach there at the time, and he would have hated it. And I finally said to him, because I made Tom take him for his first visit, but I took him for the second visit, and it did not go well for all kinds of reasons. And when we walked out of the office, I said, "You will never play for that man." And Jack said, "Oh, thank God, because I really don't want to go to Princeton." I was like, "So what are we doing here?" It's not my life. I've already been here. Like, you choose where you want to go. So
that's crazy. And then he ends up going there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Casey, you want to ask the next one?
Sure. Let's see.
Don't wanna...
Well, let's pivot and do a little lighthearted one. What kind of pregame rituals have you guys really enjoyed most doing over since they were little to even now?
You mean the tailgates?
Sure, yeah.
I'm
Tailgates
sure
are always
everybody was
fun.
We
probably
wouldn't do the tailgates with them, the rituals with them, right? Casey, you mean with our boys when they were little? Is that what you mean?
You can
Yeah.
include tailgates though without them. That's fun too.
Oh gosh, yeah, okay.
So for me, as far back as I can remember, before every game, Ethan would find me in the stands just before he would go out to line up and put his stick up in the air and do this to me and point straight at me before every game. And it brings me chills because he still does it to this day. Whenever I'm in the stands, he finds me no matter where I am and puts up his long pole and points it at me and then runs out to start the game.
Yep,
I love that.
We get the very slight head nod, and that's about it.
Yeah. But I do have to say, it's to his mother, not to his father.
That's so funny.
Right.
We have a thing, Casey, it's funny. We have a thing, because Mark's like the pump up guy, like he's all about music, right? So he's the guy that always makes the playlist for the team and all that. But it's so funny. He always says I'm his biggest fan because we always have this text exchange before every game he's ever played. And it's literally, I am just like pumping up, like, make everyone around you better, just talking like strategy and stuff too. Like he's probably like, yeah, thanks, Mom, whatever. But I think I'm like really doing the pump up thing. And then same thing at the games, what we learned like early on, never, also advice to other parents or somebody listening to this, never call your kid's name ever. Like that is the rule of like, do not do that. That is a timeout. So I would always be, in the stands, and even today, and I always am like, let's go, before because they can hear our voice, parents. They can hear our voice. They know our voices.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, Jeanmarie. He just turned around and gives the nod, and just really cool. Kind of.
All right, Laurie. I never heard that rule that you don't yell your son's name. I am guilty of it back and forth. I have to say it. I am.
Okay,
now
really funny, really quick. But
I'm gonna think twice before I yell his name now.
My oldest son was 10 years old. 10. Okay, this is 4th grade. We're going rec league. Brian coached him. I'm like, Matt, come on, let's go, because he played midi and then he ended up being a goalie too. Matt, let's go. He literally runs over to the sideline and he's like, Mom, please do not ever call my name. I know your voice. It is so embarrassing. And to that moment on, and I had another coach that's, you guys all know, he's very well known, said the same thing happened to him, that he went to his mom. He's older than us, went to his mom and did the same thing. And from that moment on, I've never called my kids names. I'm like,
all right, maybe I have to change my ways.
No, Jeanmarie, you do what you do. You know what I mean? This is like old stories, but just sharing that it's a Mother's Day thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do what I'm told.
Yeah, I think if it bothered Ethan by now, he probably would have said something.
Yeah, he tells me he doesn't hear anything anyway. He says, I don't hear anything that's going on in the stands. I'm tuned out. He doesn't hear anything. This is what he tells me. So.
Jack says the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it probably doesn't matter what I'm saying. My favorite thing is behind you when they're running down the field. To hopefully they hear me say that so they don't get checked from behind.
I love it.
That's great.
Oh, yeah. I know that I definitely yell a lot. I feel like I kind of yell as if one of my own kids was out there. And I definitely don't have a kid that's out there. But I know I would be doing that exact thing if I had a son out there, for sure.
It's instinct. You naturally want to do it. Yeah.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you guys have any like fun or special nicknames for the boys that maybe you still call them today? And it can be embarrassing. That would be great.
Really?
I hope he would kill me if I told you.
Aw.
He's really just he's known as E, honestly, amongst most people. If you calling him his name, most people know who you're talking about. You say E. But yeah.
Case, I'm sad to say that there is no other word for Marcus other than Marcus. How about you, Helen? You got any? Oh, you said that. Okay.
Can't share that information.
Not giving it up.
Oh, we've got Jack coming on the podcast in a couple weeks. I'll bring it up. See how far we can get.
Yeah.
Make sure you tell him I didn't give it up.
Oh, we will.
I got your back.
Something else, maybe in the same vein, is what's something else not lacrosse related that you wish people knew about your sons?
Mm-hmm.
Jack is an old soul. He's just a really old soul. He, I think, it's interesting with the Cannons when Coach Holman joined as our coach. They bonded so much because they are very similar, I think, in their outlooks about a lot of things. Team being team, that was number one. But he's just always been that way. I mean, in kindergarten, he was that way. He was looking out for the kid who got picked on, and he's just always been the way he is. So I don't know that comes across when he's laying people out on a lacrosse field.
But he does seem like a very natural leader, which, I mean, you see that him being a captain relatively early in his career. Yeah, I think particularly that first game against the Alice, which was right after he got hurt, I think you could really feel that absence of leadership on the defense.
Yeah, Ethan really missed Jack on the field last year. I would definitely say, Helen, if we're gonna be straightforward, he definitely missed him. Jack was great to him. All the players are great to him, to be honest with you, as the younger guy on the team and coming in, not having been drafted then, Coach Holman called him when he was in the Wawa, the infamous interview of Ethan, talking about, I was taking that call in the Wawa no matter what, when Brian called him. But yeah, no, mine is more like a little, Ethan's similar, kind of old soul too, I would say a little bit, but probably not wish to know funny things. Ethan has never drank soda.
Oh.
No.
Jack either.
He's never drank soda, and he does not like spicy food. So there you have it.
All right.
Two things that, yeah.
So
he's never drank
listening, if you
soda.
want to make it to the pros, lay off the soda.
I don't know why, but he's never drank soda. I know he doesn't like it. So
Yeah.
my daughter said to me, she goes, Mom, he's drank soda. She goes, I forced him to try it. She's 3 years younger. So, and she forced him to try it. She goes, he never drank it since probably, but yeah, but he doesn't drink soda. Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys probably all already know this, but I think in his second life, if Marcus could come back as a DJ, that would definitely be his jam. And the other thing he loves doing, he commentates some of the CAA conference games, and he's been called to do.
Oh, fun!
During the playoffs, he's done some stuff, and the kid is just so passionate about everything. It's just he has got good energy, and it's funny listening to you two moms. This is the coolest thing ever, and I guess Coach Holman recruits similar guys, because I will say, the pillars that he spoke of, the honesty and, humility, the passion, the gratitude and trust. There's 5 of them. And when I think of every guy on our team, and, that is having those type of characteristics or virtues are really what, leaders are all about, and so they all really, and there's always captains, but I mean, they all are they're just the coolest young men. I mean, it's so cool. And I mean, it would be kind of a fun thing to find out what I don't know what all of the guys do, but a lot of them have careers that I don't even know about. But yeah, it's cool. So that's kind of it for me.
Ethan actually was in the management training program for Cintas, finished it up, and then he went and spoke to senior management, and he resigned to go with lacrosse full time. So he's figuring out now full time lacrosse, which he's loving, and and he just partnered with the Face Off Academy to help them kind of grow the defensive kind of end of the field. He started his own LLC, and now he has his own website. Probably nothing on it yet, but it's coverulacrosse.com.
All right.
And Jack
awesome.
actually works for a medical liability insurance company that's owned by 3 Long Island brothers who all played lacrosse.
Oh.
And one of them played at Notre Dame. And so that's how Jack started working for them.
Yeah.
Lacrosse family.
That's super cool.
The lacrosse family comes alive again. Crazy.
Yeah.
Really.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Laurie, to I guess reflect on what you said about the leadership of the team. I remember the first time we had Brian on, he talked about, or we asked him, how he got the job and what that process was like. And he said, he called the leaders, which would have included, of course, Jack Kielty, I think Zach Goodrich, a couple other guys, and just talked about the culture really had to be right. And he was totally fine turning that job down. But the team coming off a pretty bad year before he took over, the culture of the guys in that room was something he really believed in. And I mean, we look at what they've done together. So I think it was a perfect meshing of like and like.
Yeah.
And this is their year. This
Yep.
is their year. They're gonna do
Absolutely.
it.
Very excited for this year. Obviously, Jack having missed, up until last summer, Jack had missed exactly 1 lacrosse game in his entire career.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the only reason he missed that 1 game is because he had a collapsed lung and they wouldn't let him play. He'd have played, but they wouldn't let him play.
Good.
So it's been a long year, and he is raring to go. That's for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, when Rutgers made it to the Final Four, we lost to Cornell, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, when he was playing with a broken hand, every time he came off the field, they took off his glove and put his hand in ice and then put the glove back on so he can go back out and play. He's
Wow.
like, I'm not coming off the field. I'm not playing. I said, okay.
There is no lack of passion on this team, so we'll
No.
definitely all agree on that.
No,
Yes, definitely.
somewhat of a lack
I
of
did tell
self-preservation.
Marcus though. I did tell Marcus after the win in Virginia. I said, Marcus, you have to stop diving and throwing your body around. We don't want you hurt.
Yeah.
And he laughed. He's like, I know. I was trying to stop myself after he kind of fell and hurt his back a little bit. I'm like, you can't do that anymore. And then he started doing it again. And I was like, oh,
You
well.
can't help
Did it in the
yourself.
championship game, I believe. Pretty
Yeah.
Yeah, when you don't play the game before and then you do play the next day and you can barely walk and just give it all you have.
I know. But
I mean,
was...
talk about competitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would all do it though. They would all do it.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
We heard a lot on how beat up that team was, and
Yeah.
having been in the interview rooms for some of it, you could really tell. It seemed like they were putting everything out on the field, and then they really didn't even have anything left to celebrate. Just want to check Ethan and Marcus. They're all okay. They're healthy. They'll be a training camp normal.
They are healthy and doing well, and he will be there where he can't wait.
Yeah, all three of us ready to roll. Let's go.
Jack actually has been playing in a league in Chicago just to, get back in his mojo, and he's so raring to go. I watched him play last weekend, so it was great for me, and he looks fantastic.
I cannot imagine. We're playing in a men's league this summer as well. How terrified I would be if I was just some random men's league game and then Jack Kielty is opposite guarding me. I think I'll pass the ball actually. He is. I did see him in person homecoming last year, even though he wasn't playing, and he is bigger than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
Yeah,
we love Jack.
When we had Zach Goodrich on, he wanted us to ask Jack, and we'll ask you as well. Why didn't he ever play football? He certainly
because he was playing soccer.
Mm.
He started playing soccer. My husband was a four sport athlete at Villanova, and a big football player, and went drafted to the NFL but never played. And my husband was really suspect of youth football coaches. So Jack started playing soccer and he was really good at it, and we just went from there. And ice hockey might have been a thought, except he didn't like not being in control of the surface on which he was playing. So hockey was
That's
out.
fair.
Yeah, there's some bad ice surfaces out there. I think we can attest to that for sure. Certainly no complaints about how it worked out for him. I'm sure he would have done well in the NFL had he gone that route, but we're very happy to have him here. All right, let's see what else next. What are some of the ways that your sons have shown appreciation for all the things you've done to support them over the years?
Oh.
Not to put them on blast if,
Right.
depending on the answer, but just,
Well, there was, just saying thank you. He's very thankful. He says thank you a lot. There was one game we were leaving, and he was in the back seat, and we were driving him home. It was after one of the Cannons games, and he kind of said to us, like, he said, guys, I just want to say thank you. He's like, you have driven all over the place for me, and now, like, I'm back here in the back seat. And it was a great game. They won. I don't remember even the details of the game. I'm one of the worst moms when it comes to stuff like that, when remembering all those details. But I just remember him being in the back seat and was just really, before he fell asleep, was just really like, I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. I wouldn't be where I am today without the two of you and having the faith in me that I could get this far and to always support me no matter what. And that really, that's probably was the best conversation. He fell asleep and my husband and I looked at each other. We were like, well, I guess we raised a good kid, So so that really is, he's always very thankful. He's just a thankful person, always willing to say it and to express it to us. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah.
For me, it's mostly the Mother's Day cards. Jack is a man of few words, but he does put pen to paper when it's appropriate, and I've kept them all. So We
That's
know
nice.
how grateful he is too.
Yeah.
That's kind of same with us. I mean, the cards, the definite and very heartfelt, very lengthy notes, and not just Mother's Day, but on other occasions, and the text messages as well. So he knows
Oh,
it.
I got to get Ethan to learn from Marcus and Jack then.
No, Jack, forget it.
I
Jack is the worst. He's a great communicator to his teammates and everyone else, but his texting is terrible.
Same
And
with
he hates
Ethan.
all forms of social media. So there we go.
So
Well, and
I do get nice Mother's Day cards, but I don't get long handwritten notes. I'm gonna have
well,
to have a
and
little
I
chat
think
with
too,
him.
guys, with us, I mean, when you think about like how long, the kids like, dragging the daughter to the boys' games and then them, going and watching her and then supporting each other during college. Marcus has been playing in the professional lacrosse for 13 years.
Oh my
This is
gosh.
his 13th year. And,
Wow.
in 2016, he won his first like big championship, talking about, when you have that chip on your shoulder, you think, oh, these kids are so successful. Well, they won one ACC tournament at Carolina when he was there. They never won a national championship. They only won the one in 16. Brian and I were coaching with the men's and women's team. We won national championships in 16. But then, and then going through this winning those two champ series things, and so going through the highs and lows, and even you guys know this 2 years ago, when they lost that game up at Help Me Hofstra. Oh, so the thankful through the highs and lows of just always being there and always being the number one fan, which I know you both are. And so has just been really cool.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm glad that they've shown that appreciation, because certainly talking, as we started this off, seeing who's going to be in Albany, and I'm sure you'll all be at homecoming, and just the PLL travel schedule is not easy, and the the college schedule and the club schedule and the high school schedule before that. Yeah, and I'm just take this opportunity to say that I'm very, very grateful for my mother as well, and I certainly would not be where I am today. Not a professional athlete by any means, but would not be in the position I am. So very grateful for her as well.
Awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I feel like I have to say something about my mom then.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's okay.
Pace, what do you got, Pace?
If she doesn't listen, it's okay.
Honestly, I don't think my mom has ever been on YouTube before, but no, I didn't grow up playing lacrosse. So just for context, where I grew up, there was no lacrosse for girls at all, and there was barely any lacrosse for boys. So it's not something I got into until I was much older. But I did play soccer and basketball, and I did dance. And so my mom, she was very busy with me with all of that. So I'm very appreciative of my mom, all the time that she put into that, and all of my complaining, I'm sure I did as a young teenager.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah, we got a couple questions from people who follow us on Instagram, so I want to give them the recognition. So from I'm Just Done, who is a very regular responder to when we put out questions like that. He asked, how many broken windows?
0.
Hero.
No broken windows, but the neighbor's gazing ball got broken one year when it flew over the fence, the lacrosse ball, and smashed it. So yeah, so that's the only thing that got broken. We made him go next door and knock on the door and apologize. He was probably like in 4th or 5th grade. So that was he's like, well, I said, yes, go over, get going, go knock on the door, tell him what happened, go get your ball back.
Get your ball back. The balls are Jeanmarie, the balls are $3. Go get that.
Go get the ball back and tell them what you did to their gazing ball.
Yeah. I suspect if Michelle Kirst was on this, we might have a different answer with the 5 boys. But
Yes.
I'm glad to hear there was not too much property destruction.
Kyle always took them out to the field.
Oh, good. Smart move.
Smart.
So
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. And then from the other one from at P Lacrosse, have you ever yelled wheels on the sideline? Which, Laurie, if you're not saying the name, and that might limit what you can say a little bit. That's kind of the classic dad.
That's so funny because that's such an old school. I remember Jeanmarie, no offense to the New Yorkers, but man, those Long Island girls, they are tough up there, tough. Let me tell you, I heard a lot of wheels from the Yellow Jacket parents. A lot of
Oh,
wheels.
the Yellow Jackets, right? I know,
Oh my
crazy.
No offense to anyone.
Yeah.
I think our parents was like, what does that mean? No, I'm just kidding.
I always just yell. I'm always yelling behind you. I'm always
Mm.
watching, like, because if Ethan plays in the middle of the field and he's running down and he's got the long pole, I'm like, ah!
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that's true. Yeah, he is usually the one leading the break, but yeah, so Ethan's definitely
Mhm.
got to be on the lookout for that person behind him. I hope we see the 2 point goal from him this year. I know he was like a toe away from getting that in Fairfield, which would have been so
Oh,
exciting.
he took a lot for that one.
Yeah,
On Instagram, they were like, okay, you got to get a size 8 foot now, or whatever it is, because he was just on the line and he
I
was
know.
so mad.
No,
That's so
if he
funny.
can score from what 14 yards and 35
Bring it
inches, I'm
on.
sure he can get it from 15.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Um, Casey, anything else you wanted to ask?
Hmm. Let's see. I think honestly, I did add some extra questions into our long list of them, but I think we actually ended up naturally just talking about them all, which was great. Um, I don't know. Did you guys, Lori, I know that you played, right? But Helen and Jean Marie, when the kids were growing up, the boys were growing up, um, did you guys ever like step in and pick up the sticks and start playing with them to help them? And no?
I didn't have to. My daughter played.
Okay.
So they had each other.
Mm.
Nice.
Now he had my husband who coached him all through, the younger years and whatnot. So I stayed out of that whole mix because I didn't need, any other fodder for them to get on me about my inability to play lacrosse. So no, I never got involved.
It's funny you asked. That's a back to where we were in recognizing if you thought they might be good or not. I think one of the things for parents out there, which I think this is really a great point. Um, One of the traits I think that Marcus, that a kid has is that they're self-motivated. Some kids they're just great kids, but they need a little bit of a different push to do things. Maybe it could be your smartest kid, but like it's a gene, like that you're self-motivated. When Marcus was little, he literally we had a goal down and we had like a valley in our where our house was, and I would look down, literally, I'm telling you, my daughter's 6, him 9, down playing catch, shooting like bag of balls, and I would be like, Brian, why don't you go out, like get in the goal, and be like, hey, if my kid wants me to come help them, they can ask. And meanwhile, I am so competitive. One of the questions was like,
Mm.
who's more competitive, you or Marcus? I'm like, I I win. It's it's really but it's a gene. Like I was born that way. I want to win at everything. We have family games.
Mm.
I want to win. We play pickleball, we play tennis, we play golf. I want to win at every sport. And even if I'm losing by a lot, I still think I can win.
That's
So,
good.
but
Mhm.
that piece of like I remember just with Brian saying, listen, they need to want to do it. They need to love this. And
That's right.
especially as they get older, um, you know, when you see parents of games, their kids get in the car and like, wow, you had a bad game. Just how do you think you did? How do you think you played? You know, it's a big challenge with what parents and mothers face out there these days. And I just, being positive gets you everywhere.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
Yeah.
think there's a lot of advice for, parents of youth lacrosse players these days. Same sort of thing. Like, you can't push your kid into doing something if they don't want to do it, then maybe it's not for them. But how about just go have fun? If you're
Mhm.
having fun, you'll get better at it. And the parents are so crazy about this tournament and that tournament. And like somebody was saying, Marcus didn't get asked to the special thing. Like, all of that stuff, you just have to take a deep breath, right? And not push them if it's not the right thing, just
And
try and
trust,
do
because
it.
if it's meant to be, it truly will happen. The amount of kids that go on to play Division I lacrosse, I mean, there's only 75 teams. That's 750 kids that get recruited a year. Do the math. Um, I mean, of all those kids in that class playing all these tournaments these kids go to, and you have to trust the process. They will be seen. If they're really, really good, they will be found. There will be a home for them.
That's
And then
right.
if they're not happy where they are, don't want to
It
say,
is a
but they
hard,
can
it's
always
a hard
transfer.
process. It is,
But
it is.
not
It
always,
is,
but
it is a
it's
hard
possible.
process though,
I'm
because
so glad we're out of this NIL, the whole
oh yeah.
NCAA now. That's a whole nother. I'm
Hmm.
sure you guys will have another thing on that at some point, but that is crazy.
I mean, it's a
Anyway,
hard process. Ethan just turned 25. When colleges were recruiting at his age, they were recruiting kids in the end of 8th grade.
Yeah.
Ethan was about 5'1", probably, I mean, maybe 5'1", 5'2", in that range. He was a defensive player. He was the last one on his travel lacrosse team to be picked up by, and we never even initially looked at Big Ten schools because we didn't think that he'd ever really be recognized by them. I mean, and
mhm.
this is and it was hard. And so while absolutely to the parents of younger players, Ethan has a little bit of a different story, and he always tends to pay it forward by talking to younger kids who are struggling with something similar that he went through. I mean, he was the last. I remember him, all the kids that he played with on his team were all going to all big Division I schools, ACC, Big Ten, by the end of 9th grade. And he did not get picked up by Rutgers until 11th grade. But he had the heart. He kept playing. He didn't give up his dream. People would say to us all the time, like Laurie said, it'll be what it'll be, God has a way, and we believe that. But when you're going through it, it's hard. And that's some of the things that parents just have to remember. Some players, they're the first ones to go, and more power to them, and that's terrific. And I hope they continue to go on and be a huge success. But if you're the parent of a child who's kind of at the tail end of that for whatever reason, from a development perspective, you had to hang in there too with that, and maybe consider, not D1, D2, D3. There's great schools out there if you love the sport and you want to be on the field in college. So he wanted to hang in there for D1. He did. And the rest is history for him. I mean, one of the big articles when he played his rookie year was, underappreciated and under recognized or whatever, no more or whatever. And that was one of my proudest moments for him, because he finally kind of came into his own, and because of his hard work, and he worked hard all the time, and he's humble about it, and loves working, loves playing for Brian, and loves the teammates. And he actually, kind of says now it stunk when I wasn't drafted. Like, everybody was at his house at Rutgers, and we were watching and watching and watching, and it didn't happen. 2 days later, Brian called him, and we say that's a blessing in disguise for us, because there's no place he'd rather be but playing for the Cannons.
Yeah. We have a great team, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no place he'd rather be.
Yeah, I think Ethan truly is one of the best stories that the PLL has going right now.
Yeah.
I'll say he was absolutely robbed for LSM of the year last year, but I'm sure that award is in his future, and the title as
We'll
well.
see. It's all good. If he gets it, he gets it. That's, awards are nice, but he's just happy to be playing, and he feels blessed to be playing. So it's, I hope he gets it too, of course, but
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Is there anything that you guys want to share? I think we're kind of heading towards wrapping up, but is there anything else that you guys want to share or ask or talk about?
Where's Brian? Tell him to pop his head in. Say hi to us.
Where are you, Coach? Are you here? Where are you?
I think the Cannons are going to have a great year. I know Jack
They
can't
are.
wait to get back on the field. He's so excited to finally play with Garrett again. That was a huge
Oh,
disappointment.
yeah.
So it'll be, we're really looking forward to this year for sure.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I
I didn't, yeah, that's so cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Um,
And the
Yeah,
Kilties
it's
will be
gonna
in
be a
all
great
but one
year.
game. So there we go.
amazing.
It's gonna
you
be.
know,
It's
you
gonna be
guys
a great,
also,
great year.
you guys also, again, then predictions we were talking about, but one of the questions is just I just looked at the sheet. What was the best Mother's Day gift we ever received?
Mm.
The next one.
No pressure, Ethan. You got 6 days.
Sorry, that went right over. No, but I was thinking about that, and I'm just like, our boys are just 25. Marcus had a birthday yesterday, and he
Happy
is
birthday.
for Friday, and he is 34 years old, and I'm thinking, the greatest gift, aren't they our children? I mean, the greatest gift of, God giving us this little angel when we're in the hospital. And I was just like, when you think of what the gift was it a present or whatever? And I'm like, the gift is that little bundle.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's just so.
And walking this incredible journey with them. I mean, what have we been talking about, right? How long have they played lacrosse? Like first grade, his whole life he's played lacrosse. And think of all the things it's given us as mothers to watch them, but
Yes.
also all the friendships. I mean, Tony
Friendships.
and I made incredible friends through Jack's lacrosse. That was a pretty nice gift right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to remember all the gifts. And certainly there's nice things that have been given, but just having them around and having them appreciate the fact that we're following their journey with them, we're enjoying the journey with them. I remember when, as a last comment, when we were down at the Champ Series and my husband and I go for the entire series, and people started showing up as the series kept going, and my husband and I are sitting in the stands an hour before the first game on Wednesday. We're like the only ones there. We've got his jerseys on, and the players are out there throwing the ball around. And I guess there was some comment like, "Oh, Mama Rall is in the stands." And later on, I found out about it. So while we're sitting there, though, I said to my husband, like, okay, this is an hour before the game. I think we need to go to get a drink or something, because it looks really weird that the two of us are sitting up here ready to watch play lacrosse in the first game, on Wednesday. And he's like, really? I said, yeah, let's leave the stands right now. He's gonna look up and be like, oh gosh, there's Mom and Dad.
What is our greatest gift? I don't know about you guys, but mine is the next game.
Yes.
Honestly, because I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't even want to talk about, at some point you age out of this thing, or you pray that Helen, you just lived it for a year,
It was awful.
The greatest gift in closing, besides is right now and just again, not competitive, what's the next game? And I'm like,
yeah,
and then having Brian still coaching and just loving, talk about the dream. Just being your own general manager, being the coach, being a dad to all these young men. I have, 35 or 25 sons. I mean, it is just such a blessing. So,
couldn't agree more.
Wow.
Agreed. Yeah. Very much so. 100%. And both of you have a great Mother's Day next weekend. Enjoy it.
Thanks. You too.
And you guys enjoy your time with your moms if you're going to be seeing them.
Thank you. Oh, yes, I definitely will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks for the time, Aiden, and thanks for coming over to me, during the Champ Series and say, hey, I want to do a Mother's Day, podcast. And when it came together at just over the last 24 hours, I think. So, but thanks for, including us and, helping us, just wanting us here. And it's just a lot of fun. And we're really blessed, as Laurie said. And I love both of these ladies. We have a lot of fun. I'm happy you're back, Helen. We're gonna have some good tailgates.
Yeah, I can't wait to get up to Harvard again. I'd never been there, and that was
we'll see.
I felt like I was in Rome again. The Coliseum. It was the coolest venue, and that was one of the nights I will never ever forget.
Yeah.
All of those kids and the fans and you guys had a lot to do with that, and it was amazing. It was so cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I think it's going to be amazing this year. And that game against Maryland, the regular season finale, I think there's going to be something important on the line, whether it's the 1 seed in the East or, making Champ Series versus not. I think that's going to be an amazing atmosphere. Cannot wait to see you all there. Thank you all so much for your time. This was great.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, something of an annual tradition for the podcast. That would be lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you all again.
And if you guys will be in Albany, I will be there. Sorry, Aiden, didn't mean to cut you off. I will be in Albany I just moved to Boston from Albany last year, so I would love to see you guys and say hi.
Okay,
I'll
sounds
be
good.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's challenge all those Boston moms. Get out there and
Yeah.
support our boys at the game at
Yep.
Harvard
Absolutely.
Stadium. Let's go.
Sure.
Absolutely. It's gonna
Yeah.
be a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks, you
we'll pack the
guys.
house. Yeah. Thank
Thanks
you
so
all
much.
very much.
Thanks,
Take
Happy
care.
Mother's Day.
take
Happy
care.
Mother's
Happy
Day.
Mother's
Bye.
Day.
Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're back. Thanks again, Jeanmarie, Helen, and Laurie, for the awesome and fun time. Thank you so much for spending some of your Sunday afternoon with us. We really had a great time hearing from you guys, talking about past memories and just what it's like to uh, be a mom of these guys, and all the advice that you shared too.
Yeah, it was so wonderful to hear about, the experience of watching your son who and people with different tracks, right? Like Lori and Helen talked about how Jack and Marcus were really good athletes kind of from the get-go, and then Ethan being on the other side of getting recruited very late by the standards of the time. But putting in the work and just how much they've supported their kids kind of regardless of the journey and letting the journey be the journey. Was really great. I think advice not just, for moms or not just for lacrosse players, but for people in general, like put in the work and follow your passions and just trust that things are going to work out.
Yeah, I loved how like competitive they are.
Yeah.
Um um and they're they have a lot to say, and I think we definitely need to try to make it an annual um
For sure.
thing, or even more than that, but yeah, they've got a lot to share, and it's all I mean, it's all really great to hear from them.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's a little tougher because Father's Day is during the season where normally we'd have like the preview episode or the recap episode. But I think if we could, having some of the Cannon's fathers on in a month or so would be another great thing to hear,
Hmm.
just that other perspective of it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, from maybe some of the fathers who did play lacrosse growing up or played in college and from the ones who didn't. And of course, Brian Holman, you're welcome to be included in that group if you like.
Always. You
Yeah,
always have a spot on our podcast.
absolutely. Yeah, we haven't confirmed it yet, but the plan is to have Brian on to talk about the draft um, once it happens, and we'll hear the justification or the reasoning for whoever it is that he picks, and kind of what that process is like. Maybe shouldn't be talking about it before confirming it, but say la vie. Um,
If you're watching, Brian, let's make it happen.
yeah. It would have been nice when if whoever said like, "Hey, Laurie, have Brian come over and say hi." It would be like, "Brian, talk to you
You
next
just,
weekend, right?"
right. I'm sure that if we are able to, no pressure,
Yeah.
Brian, but I'm sure that he would definitely love to just share like his thought process and strategy, um, as much as he wants to, You don't
Yeah.
want to share or show all your cards.
No, definitely not. I know he didn't do that going into Champ Series and the last time we talked I don't no, we didn't talk to him pre-draft, but we talked to him, going into the playoffs or things like that. Um yeah. But anyway, back to the Cannons moms. Um yeah, it was just wonderful to hear that conversation and hear the relationship between the three of them, how, all the
Hmm.
travel they've done and all the different places they've seen each other. And just how much they love their kids and how proud they are of them. I mean, I think that's it's the goal for every parent and hopefully the goal for every child is to raise a kid that you can be proud of and that other people
Hmm.
look up to and respect as a leader, as a person, um and then to turn into that person as well, that your parents always want to show up for you and always want to yeah, to support you and get you
Hmm.
where you need to be, um which is absolutely on the field at Casey Stadium in Albany on
Not
May.
my stadium,
No, not your
but
different Casey. Yeah, that week one game against the Atlas on May 31st. It's absolutely where the three of them
I'm
and
ready for it.
yeah, oh, I cannot wait. I think it's against the Atlas again, but I think having Kielty, I want to keep saying Jack, but don't want to confuse the Jacks.
Yeah.
having Kielty back on that defense, and I had forgotten that that Epple went to Notre Dame as well. So I think the two of them are definitely going to enjoy playing with each other. Um,
Hmm.
and Bryce Young as well. Locking down that defense will be, or Owen Grant, an amazing trio either way. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, cannot wait. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm excited to see how all these changes in the off season are gonna pan out.
yeah, because you think for sure the biggest, the roster hole, the thing they need to address is definitely that lefty attack spot, and who's going to win that out week one? We'll figure edge to Will Manny, but whether it's Hilt or Mackesy or Brian Cameron or Mike Robinson or Graydon Hogg, I've forgotten about until very recently. Um, and then yeah, what five? The combo of poles of who's going to play up top with Ethan and who's going to play down low. Um, and what other rookies cracked the roster week one, right? Like you figure it's three short stick D mids, so. It's Jeff Trainer. We've heard from him. He's going to be ready to go. And Zach Goodrich, he's going to be ready to go. And probably Christian Mazzone, but maybe the Cannons do take a D mid who is still in that playing shape. Because Mazzone hasn't played, I think, since 2021 in the PLL. He's played in the NLL, or been playing in the NLL. And yeah, so how that transitions, whether it's going to be him or a rookie or and what other rookie might crack the lineup, right? Is it another Omid and Jonathan Donville is going to be coming back from injury. His NLL season is over. Um, yeah, just I want them to get over the hump so bad. It's almost like I want them to have a great regular season and win all those games, but it feels like the real thing that we're worried about that I'm stressed about is in September the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. Right after we have our homecoming weekend too, right? Is it
Yeah.
the 2 weeks after or 1 week after?
It's the 23rd of August, I believe, because it's the Cannons homecoming week and then a week off and then the first round of the playoffs. So that'll be like the last week of August and then semifinals are on Labor Day, which is like September 1st. And then I think it's another week off before the championship. So it'll be, please, please, please let the Cannons be playing in that game. Um, yeah, it'll be September 15th or so, I think,
Hmm.
or 13th. Yeah, because if 14th. Not that's not important. It is a ways away. We'll have the date for you by then. Um, yeah,
We're
can't.
just excited,
Yeah, we are
know?
just excited. We're so excited for May 31st, but the Cannons are a
Hmm.
team that is ready to win, and it can't just be the Archers and Whipsnakes in the title game. It is Boston's turn.
Definitely not that. No,
No.
we
Um,
deserve a spot.
yeah, Kings.
We're
They're
gonna get it.
Yep. Cannons are Kings of Champ Series, but they gotta take that success outdoors. Um, Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap it up again with the reminders. We've got the watch party, the draft May 6th at 7 p.m. That's tomorrow when you're listening to this. So if you're in the Boston area, get yourself to Castle Island in Southie, off the Broadway
Come
stop.
hang with us.
Yes. If you can't make it, we will have a little bit of an Instagram giveaway on Instagram. I think I said Instagram twice there, but that's okay. Just want to get everyone excited about the draft. So we'll have some a signed card or two that we can give away there. Um, and then ULAX. If you're in the Boston area, you want to play ULAX, you've thought about it. Um, please sign up. Sign up, period. But we would love if you sign up with the Battery Group to play with as many fellow Cannons fans as possible. If you're intimidated, don't be. I have not played lacrosse since my club team in 2018, and I was fine. I didn't get hurt. I didn't embarrass myself out. I mean, I embarrassed myself a little bit, but I was mostly fine, and it was fun. And we even won multiple games. So don't think that we're gonna just come out there and get shelled. I mean, maybe we will. I don't know, but
But we're gonna have fun doing it.
yeah, we will. We will. It was really good to be out there and be active and playing again. So ULEX link will be down below. There isn't a link for the draft watch party, but and maybe I'll put the Castle Island website down below. Um, and we cannot wait to next episode we'll be on talking about the Cannons' new draft picks. Maybe with Coach Holman, maybe without, but regardless, it'll be a very, very exciting week. Um, and the college playoffs too. Just a great time of year. And thank you again to Laurie, Jeanmarie, and Helen for our time. Hope they have a wonderful Mother's Day, as do you. I know it's 6 days away when you're listening to this, but yeah, really,
It's
really
not
great.
too early to say it.
No, it's never too early to celebrate your mother and all she's done for you. Yes, you listening to this. All right. So until Tuesday, when we will see you all there for the Cannons to take someone fourth overall. Go Cannons.
Go Cannons.
Boom.
Boom.